Countries where every citizen and legal residents have access to affordable and quality healthcare through a prepaid system, otherwise known as Universal Health Coverage (UHC), did so through a mandatory health insurance system. The Vice President, Yemi Oshibajo, had set the tone for the imperatives of mandatory health insurance in Nigeria.
Permit me just three trends of thought very quickly as we reimagine primary healthcare in Nigeria. The first, of course, is dealing with out-of-pocket expenses. And I think we clearly need compulsory health insurance, where premiums for certain categories of vulnerable groups are paid by government. And the Honourable Minister of Finance has already said that our target is 100% coverage of the poor and vulnerable in the short to medium term. There is no way that healthcare funding can be paid by government budgets alone. It's simply impossible. The size of the federal government budget itself is so constrained, and there is absolutely no way that we can expect to fund healthcare by just budgets. And so healthcare insurance is an important pool of resources for funding healthcare on the scale that will be required for a country of 200 million people or more.
On May 19, 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari delivered to Nigeria the most life-changing legislation by signing into law the National Health Insurance Authority (NHIA) Act, making health insurance mandatory. At the accent, the president observed that about 83 million Nigerians might not be in a financial position to make the required contribution for their health care. They would have to be catered for by the state. In that regard, the NHIA Act establishes the Vulnerable Group Fund (VGF), from where indigent persons would be accommodated. The law cites the sources of drawing the VGF to include as follows: the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which is currently in implementation, the Health Insurance Levy, grants, donation, and Special Intervention Fund. Within the context of Special Intervention Fund, the Director General and CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority (NHIA), Professor Mohammed Nasiru Sambo, has made a call for innovative financing of vulnerable groups aimed at ultimately including all Nigerians in health insurance.
The only way we can generate money to cover this vulnerable, certainly not from the budget, because I told you that we need 3 trillion at the rate of 15,000 naira per capita. What is other countries? What is other countries doing in that respect? They are doing what is called innovative financing. They look at their telecommunication industry because the turnover of resources is very high. If you put 1 kobo per second call, you make a call, 1 kobo is removed. In a population of 200 million, before you know, you have billions of naira. That's innovative financing. So those countries where they have a vulnerable group funds, they cannot be able to finance it through general tax revenue. Experts will sit down and think of where can we tap resources. And the beautiful thing in Rwanda we saw is that once experts have identified opportunity for innovative financing, they will talk to Mr. President, executive order will be enacted, and they will start getting the money. So we need to understand this, and we need to know that this social insurance is for all of us. It is a system that has a very great effect on our citizens. Therefore, we need to support it, and we need to do every advocacy. In fact, what we are doing to implement this social insurance law now, I'm going to inaugurate a committee on innovative financing. When we were brainstorming on innovative financing, somebody said, somebody said, individuals are being given oil blocks. Is that not right? Why can't you give oil block to Nigerians and say that this oil block the proceeds from it will go into financing healthcare for the people, for the vulnerable. This is innovative financing. So we want to aggregate all these ideas on how to generate resources to cover for these 83 million poor Nigerians, so that health insurance in Nigeria can have a very large and huge funds that will be able to cater not only for the healthy people, but the vulnerable segment of the population. Thank you very much.
Professor Sambo has suggested the pooling of 1 kobo per second across all calls made in Nigeria and or dedication of proceeds of an oil mining license or oil block to the funding of health insurance for vulnerable persons. No doubt, the implementation of the mandatory element of the NHIA Act, in combination with consideration of Professor Sambo's suggestion, the attainment of healthcare for Nigerians is now in sight.